Where are my stacks?
Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to be talking about the new Avenged Sevenfold album, Life is But a Dream. I cannot wait to talk about this album because I'll be honest, Greg, I haven't really listened to a Avenged Sevenfold album from beginning to end in a while. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't their last album The Stage?
Yep, 5 years ago. That was when they had the new drummer, Brooke Wickerman.
Oh, he was on The Stage?
Yep, that was his first album. For a little backstory on Brooke, he played for Tenacious D.
He played for Tenacious D. He also played for The Offspring, didn't he?
Bad Religion.
Oh, okay. Bad Religion. I knew it was one of those punk bands.
I can't remember all the other bands, but there were two bands that
He was in a lot of bands.
He's like Josh Freese, that one that plays with Foo Fighters now.
Isn't Josh Freese there? Did they have the same drummer on The Stage in this one?
Yeah.
Okay. I was making sure. I'm like, God damn, dude. Like, but this album, when you compare it to other Avenged Sevenfold albums, wait, what? Like, they went psychedelic metal. Like, this album is what would happen if you combined Frank Zappa,
Yeah.
Alice in Chains, who else? Metallica.
And some pop music that just came out recently.
Yeah, like this album has a little bit of everything for everyone. I'm wondering if Avenged Sevenfold decided to do psychedelics before releasing this album, because this album feels like a Pink Floyd metal album.
Yeah, definitely. They wanted to push boundaries. They wanted to do something different. And and every band, it doesn't matter what genre you're in, they all do something different. If you got to keep doing the same shit all the time, dude, it just gets boring.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people complain when bands do what Avenged Sevenfold did. Like, I've heard people complain. There was a band that I used to listen to. Their name's Cane Hill. I don't know if you've heard of them. Cane Hill, they released 2 albums, I believe. It sounded kind of like Slipknot, like they were really heavy. And then the next couple albums was really pop. Like they went very pop. And people complained about it, and I loved it. I was like, they're changing up. And the Avenged Sevenfold thing is they're getting older. We're all getting older. We're all aging. Things will change. It's okay. Even like Motorhead changed over the years. But with this album, I don't know exactly what to say because I didn't really expect it.
Me either.
Every song is incredible. From Game Over to Mattel, Nobody, We Love You, Cosmic, Beautiful Morning, Easier, G, Ordinary, like Death, Life is But a Dream. The whole track listing is incredible, but I don't know how to really explain this album other than what I've said.
Until you have to listen to it. It's one of those albums that you just have to listen to it.
I'll be honest, I listened to this album from beginning to end about 3 or 4 times now while driving or just chilling out at the house. I couldn't really tell you what track was what because I just listened to it and I got lost in it because this album is a very easy album to get lost in.
It is. That's why the title itself,
Life is But a Dream.
Yeah, it kind of puts you in that mood, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and this album is very psychedelic and it takes you like, it kind of is a modern wave of like psychedelic rock, but metal. And the one track that really took me off guard was, I believe it was called Nobody. It was the one that's very Alice in Chains, like
down now. Yeah, it keeps repeating, but then like the great Sinister Gates, great guitar player. He just gets all these sweet pickings in.
Yeah, and the
Which is kind of
drums,
cool.
the drums. Listen to the track again, Greg. The guitar was very much grunge, Alice in Chains. The vocals are very much of Avenged Sevenfold, but the drums reminded me of Rush.
Oh yeah, you could definitely hear. You could definitely
Progressive
hear
rock.
hear that Rush vibe to it a bit.
Yeah, it's very progressive rock with like the grunge guitars, but with the metal vocals. Like it's very interesting track. The first track on the album that breaks off is very starts off very slow, and you're like, where are they going with this? And then it like gets real heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
It's
oh
the
my,
same thing with "We Love You" as well.
yes, that track very much so. Like we
Yeah,
love you. Like that track is very much reminds me of Guns N' Roses a little bit.
a little bit it does, but then that fast thrashy bit just was that Metallica vibe to it.
Yeah, like it was like Guns N' Roses meets Metallica in a way. And
Yeah,
I know bands hate when you compare them to other bands, but there's no other way for us to say this to let other people know what this album's like because we can't say it's like Avenged Sevenfold because it's not.
exactly. It's totally different, but there's a track in that album that had that very Frank Zappa vibe to it.
I believe the song was Cosmic.
I think so.
It was very like very jazz. I think
Very jazzy Frank Zappa.
it might not have been Cosmic because there is a Frank Zappa song with the word cosmic in it, so I might be getting them mixed up. Cosmic Debris, but they did have a very Frank Zappa vibe, like jazz, and it's weird to explain an album by using Alice in Chains, Metallica, Frank Zappa, and Pink Floyd in the same sentence.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what this album was. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, you can relax to this album or you can mosh to this album, and it's very much.
Well, the song "Easier," the auto tune really put me off a little bit.
The what?
The auto tune that he used in his voice
That
kind
was
of put me off a bit, but then it kind of picks up to that hard rock guitar sound a bit,
yeah,
and then what the last 2 minutes of the track it just goes to that Pink Floyd-ish jazz.
yeah. The Frank Zappa, Pink Floyd kind of jazz feeling. Like I
Yeah,
felt that too, bro. Like, oh my god, I
a
gotta
lot of
say that
people give it shit, but they expect too much from a band that hasn't released an album in 5 years. You know what I mean?
they haven't done much in 5 years. They haven't. I don't even think they've done much shows.
No, they played their first show a couple of weeks ago.
Like I thought they broke up at first.
No, obviously, the pandemic happened, and then I think they just wanted time with their families.
Understandable. I mean, you need time away from the road. It's a
So I
hectic.
reckon at the same time as well, they would have been coming up with ideas for this album.
Yeah.
They normally do that.
Avenged Sevenfold is one of those bands, though, if I'm not mistaken, where they will take long breaks from the road
Yeah,
and then they'll release an album. And I gotta say, like, I I'm gonna get hate for this, but do I ever care? No. Avenged Sevenfold's "Life Is But a Dream" is one of my favorite Avenged Sevenfold albums I listened to from beginning to end because each song is very different. There for the while, like especially towards the beginning, they had it wasn't like the same song or nothing. It wasn't like Five Finger Death Punch, but like they're each song you're like, oh yeah, that's Avenged Sevenfold. Yeah, that's definitely the same album. This album makes you question if you're still listening to Avenged Sevenfold or not, or makes you even wonder if it's the same damn album,
yeah, yeah.
track per track. And I love that.
I reckon the drums in this as well is really good, and I think Brooke Wackerman, if I said his name right, sorry, bro, but I reckon he's like the best drummer since the Rev.
He is, and he's the best session drummer since the Rev, which I hate to say because Mike Portnoy of Dream
Oh,
Theater,
Portnoy, yeah.
he's an amazing drummer, but him and the Rev were very similar drumming styles.
A little bit. I find that Mark Portnoy had that more of that technical, was a bit more technical.
Yeah, he was more progressive, he was more technical, and actually the Rev idolized him, looked up to him.
Yeah.
So he was a very different drummer, but very much the same in different regards. And it seemed like when they released, didn't they release one album with him on drums?
Yeah, that was Nightmare.
It seemed like they were still trying to be the feel of the Rev's era of Avenged and didn't really give him much leeway instrumentally as a musician to create his own music through Avenged. I could be mistaken. This album felt like they gave a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
And of the album didn't sound like. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Mark Portnoy, wasn't that album a lot of the music already written by the Rev? He just played it.
Yeah. He was meant to. Yeah, I think there was maybe that could be like old demo tracks of this song when of the Rev doing like Nightmare and stuff like that.
Because I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm looking it up right now.
I believe he probably wrote half the tracks.
So they were still trying to do the feel of the band. The Rev did drum. You were right. He did the drumming arrangements and he did backing vocals for Nightmare, which was a demo.
Yeah.
Mark Portnoy was only a session musician. The Rev did write some of the stuff on the album.
Yeah. But Mark Portnoy did go on tour with them for a bit.
He did. And I wish they would have done more stuff.
Yeah, but it's Mark Portnoy. He plays for Dream Theater and he's got like 500 million other bands as well.
You know what else is weird?
What's that?
Welcome to the Family was also written by the Rev.
Yeah, right.
I believe
he wrote. You can hear his drumming on that, like the drum feels like he's I call it his signature drum feels when you hear it. You can definitely hear his style of drumming.
Yeah, I guess the Rev. It was the first album without him performing the drums, but he did write parts that were used in the final recordings.
Yeah.
That's weird. It says until 2023, this is the last album that he wrote on.
Well, with the Rev.
Yeah, but what other albums would he have been on?
He probably had like a bunch of demo tracks.
Yeah, true. I'm curious now.
The same thing like with Static X. There's so many songs that should have been, or maybe Start a War or whatever it was.
So, the Rev is on this album, Life is But a Dream.
So they're all using old demo tracks.
No. He's not on the album, but he has songwriting credits on the album. He wrote the bridge medley on track 2.
Really?
He wrote that. The bridge
melody,
melody, sorry. And he wrote the lyrics for Beautiful Morning. They used old lyrics and just redid the song.
That's pretty cool.
So he is on this album, but he isn't.
Yeah. Let's just say writing credits.
Yeah. Brooks Wakerman played drums on every track but the last one. Because the last track, I don't think even had drums.
Nah, I think it was just piano.
Yeah, it was just piano. And it felt... That was another one that felt kind of like Guns N' Roses-ish, November Rain kind of feel.
Is it Estranged?
Yeah, estranged, kind of. I read somewhere that Slash has problems playing that song live.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that's one of his hardest guitar solos he's ever written, and I don't think that song was even designed to be played live.
Unless they can just wing it. Like, I'm pretty sure they did play that song live when I saw them last.
Well, they do play it live, but Slash, that's one of the songs in the set list where they have to practice and rehearse it.
Yeah.
Because it's not one of those songs they play all the time.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite song?
On this album?
Yeah.
Probably Nobody.
Yeah.
What is yours?
We Love You.
We Love You is a good one.
Because I just like that. I just like that. The off timing drums and the sample at the start. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Matt's voice, like it's very off timing from his vocals to the drums.
Uh-huh.
But then I just like that bridge. That is it, like more sex, more money. Dun, 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 dun.
See, those
And
are my
then-
top two songs, so I agree
Yeah.
with you. I was gonna go with too.
Is it G?
Huh?
The song G?
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah, G.
Yeah. I'm just going through it right now. So I kind of forget. So I did listen to it on the train on the way up to the city last night.
Like I said, I listened to the album a few times actually, and I just couldn't name every track because like I was just like jamming through them. The next thing I know,
Ordinary was pretty good.
I'm done with the album, and the album feels like it goes through quick, but most of the songs are like 5 to 7 minutes,
Yeah.
and it's just fucking wild. What do you rank this album, Greg?
That's tough.
It is.
For an
Yeah.
Avenged Sevenfold fan. And this album was a big curveball. It's like taking a swing at a curveball you miss and it hits you in the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think they hit the nail on the head with this album.
I did too, but I can give you the critics rating later.
What's the critics rating?
From what I saw, it was 4.5 out of 10. 4.5 out of 5.
That's a good rating. 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah. If I'm not, I have to have a look. I had like a little look, but I'll probably give it a 7 out of 10.
I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. I reckon I'll give it a 10 for creativity though.
I give it a 10 for creativity, but for Avenged Sevenfold, I'm going to give it an 8.
And Matt's vocals is fucking amazing on this too.
Okay, the album overall, according to Google, got a 4 out of 5.
Yeah. Pretty good. A lot of people hate it, but they just expect like the old stuff to come back, which that's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen because people get older, and honestly, that older stuff is what messed up his voice.
Yeah.
Don't you want the man to take care of himself?
Yeah, well, once you get older, man, you gotta fucking look after your voice.
Yeah, you got to doctor your voice. You got to take care of yourself. You got to like do better.
So louder sounds, sound.com reviews gave it a 4.5 out of 5. So it's a great album. A lot of people are dissing it, but like I think it's a very creative, genius album.
It's an amazing album. I loved it. It is actually one of my favorite.
I agree.
But that was Pink Sock Reacts, guys, and we are going to be doing another episode of Pink Sock Podcast Monday. Are we doing a pre-recorded, Greg? Like, are you available this week?
Yeah, I could do Saturday morning,
which
my
would be
time, 2 a.m.
which would be Friday for me. That works. Much love, Gorak. This was an amazing album. Thank you for telling me about it because I've not been getting notifications for new music, and it makes me sad.
Should listen to Polyphia's new album. Whew.
I will. I'll definitely check it out. We can do that for the next reacts if you want.
Yeah, you could because when I played Playing God and sick, me and my sister were looking at each other. I'm like, holy shit.
Holy shit, this is a great album.
It's a fucking great song. And have you ever seen somebody shred on an 8-string guitar?
No, but I have seen ZZ Top's bassist is shredding on a 12-string bass.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
He actually said he did a comment on one of Jared Dines' posts, and he's like, "This kid is more talented than I am. I'm playing on one of his basses, I guess." And he's like, "And I only use 2 of the strings."
Yeah.
He said, "I do it because
that will fucking weigh a ton, though."
Yeah, right. But Greg, I'm gonna get off of here. It was nice chatting. Guys, tune in next week. We're gonna be doing Pink Sock Podcast new episode on Monday at noon, and we're gonna be live Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Time is what they call it now. EDT. It's weird when we're in daylight time. They change the name of the time zone, but it's whatever.
Really?
Yeah, it's stupid. I never even thought of that. I've still been putting Eastern Standard, but it's the same time. So I don't. But whatever, guys. We'll be there. Love you all, and as always, live on rock hard.
Stay hard. My ears are still ringing from that gig, but yeah, it's all good.
I'm glad you had fun, Grant. Much love.